Hello? Baby?
This chapter might get me into trouble. With that being said, I am not suicidal in any way. I love my life, I love my kids, and I've been a pillar to my community for over 13 years. Most importantly, the love I have for the state of Arizona is unearthly. It started as a kid in 1987 when my mother and I visited this church in the Phoenix area. I saw these stone maps while we were given a tour of the facility, and the priest said they led to gold and silver. Indiana Jones was huge at the time, so I decided I wanted to be a treasure hunter. 10 years later, my attention was turned towards the sky after witnessing something fly over the city. Over the years, the hunt for treasure shifted into a thirst for information on the unknown objects above. I've traveled the world for knowledge. These eyes have seen things that many will not be able to. It wasn't until October of 2011, on a trip to the Asia Minor for a research paper, that ended up being the most fruitful. Remote locations like these lack security and the manpower to rebuild these ancient cities. During my college years, the goal was to be a professor in history and an archaeologist. You know, just living out my childhood dreams. Trekking deep into the city, I came upon one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Hidden passages, relics, statues are all within arm's reach. But then I came across the most important find of all. The information that was uncovered led me to an unexpected yet familiar location.
I'm not supposed to talk. How do I say it? I've always known I'm not supposed to be talking. And I saw them. I mean, you couldn't miss them.
If anything, they're more curious about us as we are about them.
They wanted to borrow the ending, or borrow the negative.
What is that? Because they were in a formation.
And I remember seeing something, a flashing light. I couldn't tell the shape of whatever it was.
People are reporting seeing lights in the sky.
What do we know? New planets are discovered almost every day. Many of them similar to the place we call home. These discoveries have caused many to shift their thought process to the possibilities of other life forms inhabiting these planets. We are not going to show you any aliens or little green men. However, we will show you things in the sky that you may be unfamiliar with. Some in which we can explain, and some that we cannot. Understand this, they are real.
What is that?
They're coming for you guys.
You no longer have to ask that question. In this chapter, we will explain why you should get away from using the acronym UFO. The conversation shifts towards aliens, That's not always the case. Instead, we will say unidentified flying object or unexplained aerial phenomena. We will give you a crash course into the differences between the two, how to identify, accurately categorize them, and when their visibility is at best. You will also hear from credible eyewitnesses and their experiences. You will understand why the government insists that you stop saying UFO, but instead call these sightings in the sky. Did you see it? If not, let's take another look. Pay close attention. Was it an unidentified flying object or an unexplained aerial phenomena? Let's understand the differences before you answer that.
99.9 KEZ with Beth and Friends. So on Twitter, I saw this topic. What's a story about you that is absolutely true, but people would think it's a lie? All right, it's not a lie. Absolutely true. Good morning, Elizabeth. What's your story?
Well, good morning, Beth. And by the way, I just emailed you guys a picture of it. Way long time ago, I was driving west on Camelback Road. I was just south of the Luke Air Force Base there at Litchfield. And 6 fighter jets took off. And at the time, I'm thinking, night maneuvers, because there was the tensions in the Persian Gulf. And then I'm thinking, those guys look like they're going off to fight. And when I look up to my left, there's this big, huge UFO up in the sky.
And I just pulled up the picture. It looks like 3 orange balls of flame or light or something.
Make it bigger. You'll see the big black triangle that they're attached to.
All right, let's see here. I'm trying to see.
Big upside-down black triangle, but that was it. And the thing was... It was just huge, and then as the fighter jets got closer and closer to it, all of a sudden the thing just disappeared, just like flicking off a light switch.
Now, how did you just happen to have a camera with you? I mean, because we didn't have camera phones at the time.
No, I didn't have my camera with me. This particular picture was actually taken by a friend of mine. He was like 30 miles away, and he was stargazing. He gave me a copy of the picture, and I put it on my phone.
So he saw it too.
But I was right under it.
So your friend saw it too?
Yeah.
It all starts with an unexplained experience. We would like to introduce you to Elizabeth Compton. She worked for the Youngstown Police Department from 1989 to 1998. Her first sighting was on March 13th, 1997. She was on duty the night of the Phoenix Lights. After the interview, we showed Ms. Compton 4 photos of what she just described. These 4 photos were taken on February 9th, 2015. I witnessed and photographed a solid red ball of light near an airplane. The object had what appeared to be an exhaust trail that got smaller. Once that trail disappeared, it began to change its form into a black triangle with 3 visible red lights on the bottom of it, headed south towards Luke Air Force Base. This sighting would have been categorized as a UAP. However, the red ball of light changed into a black object. It was flying, and it was identified. That does not mean that its origins are extraterrestrial. The best times to spot unidentified flying objects with the naked eye: sunrise and sunset. The concentration of light increases as it is deflected up into the atmosphere. During these hours, the refraction of the sun's light scattering is abnormal, causing trouble to unidentified flying objects by disrupting the natural blend in the sky. There are two types of light scattering processes. The first process is me scattering. The light is deflected upwards, bends, and enters our atmosphere, generating well-lit, multicolored skies. The clip you are about to see was filmed on March 30th, 2019. We received this clip of a fiery cigar-shaped object heading west towards the setting sun. Newcomers to this community may question what they are seeing. By knowing how light is scattered, we were able to identify this craft. Were you? The next image won't be so easy to identify. The second light scattering process is known as Rayleigh scattering. These are the toughest times to capture unidentified flying objects and unexplained aerial phenomena. We did manage to capture this craft during a clear blue day. This happened on January 24th, 2015. The goal was to photograph the planet Mercury with the rising sun. When it comes to this type of long-range photography, the distance to size ratio is important. So I started with the moon, roughly around 4:41 a.m. While tuning my camera on the moon, I noticed something in this image. I came across something that I eventually sent to NASA. So compelled by with what I saw, I actually missed the opportunity to photograph Mercury with the rising sun.
Warning, this video contains super awesome content.
Don't try this at home. At this time, Mercury is dangerously close to the sun. Minutes into this, I'm realizing that there's all kinds of stuff going on out there. And also the fact that I can see the darkness of space using my telescope. The clip you're about to see shows the sun into the corner, and then the object flies by. It's very quick. It's only about a second. But here it is. An unidentified flying object can be identified. An unexplained aerial phenomena, that's a little bit different. You can easily tell that it's not a balloon. You can zoom in on it with your camera. You don't see any aviation lights. It's kind of hovering. You cannot explain what it is that you're looking at.
We have dates and times here. You see that? Yep. Clive, November 24, 2015. I saw a light appear out of the darkness. It was 3:13 a.m. in the eastern sky. I took photos over in series of 2 hours. Clive, where are your photos? Send those photos. I need to see the photos.
The time is around 3:13 in the morning when I was awakened out of my sleep. I head outside and immediately notice 3 white lights in a triangle-shaped pattern off in the distance. One of the lights disappeared. It does not fade as smoothly as the other 2 did. It appears to be struggling. My immediate thought was something exploded in the sky, maybe a helicopter or a plane, but there's no signs of debris or flames. The only thing that was left behind was this cloud, or what appears to be a cloud. It moved with the rotation of the Earth, meaning this event took place outside of our atmosphere. These white balls of light are very common in the Phoenix area. They seem to be watching over us or involved in certain individuals. These white orbs visit frequently, but never act in this fashion. The strange thing about this sighting is I remember going in the house about 4:44 in the morning, but the photos are time-stamped closer to the 6 o'clock hour. You can see the rising sun in the last few photos. To understand this next sighting, you'll need to know the basics on how thermal imaging works. Daylight cameras, night vision devices, and the human eye all work on the same basic principle. Visible light energy hits something, bounces off of it, a detector then receives it and turns it into an image. Light must be received in order to create that image. We still call them cameras, but they are really sensors. How do they function?
Forget everything you know about how cameras make images. IRs make images from heat, not visible light. They detect more than just heat. They detect the tiny differences in heat.
Everything gives off thermal energy, including ice. IRs detect these temperature differences and translate them into image detail. Red is hot, blue is cold. The color green indicates room temperatures. This sighting still remains unexplained. The night started photographing the planet Venus, which can be quite tricky due to its composition.
Come here.
Whoa, what is that? Is that gas cloud?
No.
Or is that Saturn? I mean Venus.
That is Venus.
What? This camera works really good on stars.
People confuse it as the North Star. In fact, it always follows the sun. The camera rig I use has a feature that allows me to track objects in the sky. I noticed something moving extremely fast in the viewfinder, tracked it, got ahead of it, and captured 3 images. Here they are. Remember the basics of thermal imaging. They are made from heat, and they detect the tiny differences in heat. Red is hot, blue is cold. The color green indicates room temperature. We're not even going to try to speculate what this could be. If you look at this last image long enough, you can't help but feel like something is looking back at you. The person who filmed this video wishes to remain anonymous. During February and March of 2017, she witnessed unexplained aerial phenomena for 27 consecutive days.
The sighting took place right after I moved out of my condo and into my new place on Ironwood Drive. One evening, my husband and I were sitting outside gazing at the sky when suddenly we noticed, south toward Queen Creek, a cluster of strange lights in different hues and tints.
Holy shit.
The night sky was highlighted by soothing orange and amber orbs. I looked at my husband in astonishment and asked, "What is that?" The sky suddenly lit up, and a formation of egg-shaped lights appeared out of nowhere over a populated area. We watched the light patterns transmute in the sky. They also knew when to dim their lights to allow actual planes to pass without interference. From where we were standing, it looked very close, but in actuality, it was further in distance. If you're familiar with the Phoenix Lights backstory here in Arizona, then you already know what we were thinking. If you haven't heard about it, it's definitely worth the research. I reached out to the local news and airport looking for answers, only to receive a response of, "There are no radar reports or alerts of such occurrence." I couldn't believe, as undisguised as they were, it didn't make the news. I started feeling very uneasy knowing the military was seeing this happen and made no attempt in intercepting what was going on. At one point, we saw a helicopter approach the lights and then suddenly back off. I knew what we were looking at wasn't military because where the lights were hovering was a populated area and would be unsafe. What we saw that night was bluntly trying to get our attention. It shows the lack of awareness society has for our skies, and I have a feeling they are knowingly exposing themselves to us.
This sighting involves contact. My first recorded event took place in 2007, nearly 10 years to the day after my first encounter. I had the opportunity to show this video to Travis Walton, who was well known with contact and abduction. I believe it was watching over someone else because it was there days before and stayed static in the sky. It wasn't until I grabbed my camera and switched to night vision that's when I got its attention. At the time of filming, I was unaware of what was happening. The first sign was the sudden movement to the left. My confidence grew seeing this action. Anything that big and bright in the sky would have to be a planet. It's not a planet. During March in Arizona, planets rise at an angle starting in the east. The rotation takes them to the south, and then they set in the west. This light was headed south as the sun was already below the horizon, against the grain of the Earth's rotation. During this observation, I become aware that it's also in our atmosphere. I'm facing directly west, observing this unexplained aerial phenomena. While observing this UAP, its behaviors were very odd. It was trying to mimic a planet in the night sky, but it just couldn't get it right. Not exactly following the path of the stars and planets, it was moving very slow and cautious. But watch its behaviors. You'll notice a plane fly by for a brief moment. You'll see the red aviation lights from the plane reflect off of it. It's definitely in our atmosphere. It moved down the side of the building, further in distance. Watching the chart of the planets across the sky, you would think that could be Venus. That's using logic. The time that this video was shot, which was around 8:57 p.m., Venus was much closer to the horizon, which would have put it behind this building about an hour earlier. Once it was out of my line of sight, I packed up, I went inside for the night. But what I didn't expect was for it to show up again. On this exact date, 10 years prior, while working at Sky Harbor Airport, I witnessed my first sighting during the evening hours. It's happening again. I went outside, and there it was, sitting almost in the exact same spot from a few days prior. The camera in use has a night vision feature on it. This is the second time in a week. When it comes to night vision, there are two ways that visuals are produced. The expensive way is true night vision devices. The cheaper way involves a feature that's built into the camera.
Hello, Jenny.
This feature involves a light that is projected from the camera that the human eye cannot see.
It's back and it's slowly moving.
During this second sighting, I only filmed for about 7 minutes.
March 10th, 2007. This is crazy. The second time in 1 week.
Due to the sensitive nature of this material, some of the information you are going to see will be withheld. Look at these two images closely. This took place near Tucson during the sunset hours. Most people, even experts, think it's a photo taken inside of a moving vehicle, like a raindrop on a windshield. When you look at the uncropped image, you quickly realize that this photo was not captured inside of a moving automobile. What would have caused the light to bend in front of that rainbow? The one thing we know is this: mist scattering disrupted the natural blend of the sky, causing this phenomena to take place. Before we go into our next interview, let's take a look at the video in the beginning of this chapter. Can you spot the sighting and determine whether it's an unidentified flying object or an unexplained aerial phenomena? If you said unexplained aerial phenomena, you guessed correctly. This next interview involves a gentleman named Martin. He came to us with visual evidence of an unexplained aerial phenomena that eventually flew into the airspace undetected at Luke Air Force Base. Listen to Martin's remarkable story about what he saw living right next to the base.
See, I was sitting outside in the backyard, and because Luke Air Force Base right down the street, you know. Actually, it's about 2 miles away from my house, and usually every day you can hear the planes coming in about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and they make an enormous amount of noise. I'm sitting out there having some tea, and with my dog out there and stuff, and I look to my right, so I'm looking north, and I see this real bright light up there. Well, these jets from Luke Air Force, they have the same bright light exactly. So during the day, I mean, it's like you're looking at a bright star when they're coming in. So I'm looking at it, and I said, I'm thinking to myself, as I'm drinking my tea, I'm thinking to myself, well, they're going to be passing by in just a little bit. I don't look forward to it because they're so loud, So I'm sitting there, and then about a good 5 minutes went by, and I look back over there, and it's still sitting there. And I'm like, what the hell, man? I mean, go, it didn't even, it's just sitting there, you know what I mean? And it's not flickering yet. On the video, it shows that it's flickering, you know, because if you look at an airplane, okay, with your phone, the lights don't flicker. You understand what I'm saying? When you're looking at an airplane with your phone, you know, try recording it, you'll see that the lights don't flicker. But this one, when I started recording it, the lights were flickering. But when I was staring right at it, there's no flickering. So let me go back to where I was sitting there, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going, man, this thing is just sitting there, you know what I mean? So I go, thinking to myself, you know what, I'm gonna stand up and walk towards the end of the patio to get a better look. And when I got up off the chair, the lawn chair, and I walked halfway to the patio, no kidding, man. Now I'm estimating this thing must have been about a good 5 miles away. Okay, because of the height and just you can almost tell how far it is. You know what I mean? Just by looking at it on the phone, you can't. You know, you can't determine depth, but as you're looking at it, you can determine depth. You know how far it is. Yeah. But when I stood up and I walked halfway to my patio, that thing shot towards the west. I mean, it was a freak of a from Still Point to the left, bam, real fast, and it stopped. And I stopped in my tracks, and I was freaking out, and I was like thinking to myself, what the hell did I just see? So I'm looking at this thing, and it darted to the left, which is going west, and all of a sudden, you know, I started walking towards the end of the patio, and that thing just dropped. Boom, it just dropped the same way it went to the left. It just went down like if I would have put a ruler up, it would have went down maybe about a good 2 inches. It fell down. And it stayed there, man. And that's when I started recording it, and I'm screaming for my wife. I'm freaking out. Sometimes I have binoculars in my head, and I didn't even think about even looking because I was stunned, you know, what I was looking at. So she comes out, she says, let me see the binoculars. I gave them to her, and she's looking at it, she says, it's so bright, but I can't even tell what it is.
Okay, here's the look.
And it's not a helicopter.
It's not, babe. I just seen it go. It's just freaking me out. It went up and down. It just stayed in one spot.
Yeah.
Look at it, went dim. See that?
Yeah.
It just stays in one spot, honey.
Yeah.
You don't have nothing on the stove, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, put those binoculars here. Look. You see how it went dim?
Yeah. I have it on.
There's another one on the left. Look. There's another one on the left. I think that...
See, that's a plane, babe.
No, look at what it's doing. Look what it's doing. Look what it's doing.
What the fuck?
Look what it's doing, babe.
Oh my god, I'm following it with the binoculars.
Call your mom. Just yell out to your mom.
Mom!
And that's the Air Force that went over there, babe.
Mom! Hey, Mom, look at this light.
It's a UFO, suegra.
Ma, it's not a plane, Ma. Lo mira. Esa luz que va bajando. Sí, no es avión, ma.
Look how it disappeared. Look how it stopped right away. It stopped right away. It just stopped right there and it se fue otra vez.
Ma, that's not a plane.
Are you seeing that, babe? That's a UFO, man. Where'd it go? There it is.
Where is it?
It's right between the trees over here. Oh my God, man. It's right by Avenue, so underneath the clouds.
Oh, I see it. Ma, that's not a plane. Porque un avión.
Look at the cells going down. Cells going down. Yeah, it disappeared. It disappeared. Look.
There goes the lights.
Look at the jets up there.
Why are the jets not seeing it?
Oh, they know it's up there, babe.
Mira, now it's just there hanging out. Huh?
Now, yeah, look. It's just right there, huh?
Mira.
Look at the jets up there, man. It's right over the Air Force Base, babe.
I know. I lost it, Javier.
It's still there.
I can't even see a shape. I can't see nothing. It's just so bright. Like if you're looking not at the sun, but it's just like looking at a silver star, but it's just so bright you can't even see the radius of it or anything like that. So, I'm looking and I'm telling her, look, man, it just freaked me out. It moved over and it did this, and I don't know what to say. And I looked at her and I said, do you see it? She goes, yeah, I'm looking through binoculars. I can't believe that I'm seeing this thing. So I had the camera and I see that I thought it was another one, but it was actually an airplane that was going by. Okay? Now, if you're standing at my level, which is ground level, and you're looking straight up at it, that means the airplane was way below the object. Even though it looks like it's above, it's way below, which means if I was standing eye level, which is maybe, say, 1,000 feet up in the air, I don't even know if it's that high, but maybe 1,000 feet up in the air, if I was looking directly at it, that means that airplane would be low. So it had no chance of seeing it. You got what I'm saying? As it was going by, the thing disappeared, man. And that's when I went, look what it's doing. That's when I said that. It disappeared. And when it appeared, it was already, when it reappeared, it was already to the left of that spot where it was at. It reappeared. It must have been like, I would say, at the distance of where it was at, maybe, a quarter mile away from the point where it was at when it reappeared. And they just booked it, man. It started taking off towards the sun, And I'm taking video of it as much as I can. But when it went past the tree, past the little house, and it was in between the house and the tree, it disappeared again. I go, look, it disappeared. And then it reappeared again, and it was still moving, but with a drop of a dime, it stopped in midair again. And I go, no, it stopped. And then all of a sudden, it took off again. But now when the film, or I'm filming with a phone and it's already towards the sun, you can't see it because the sun, of the glare of the sun. But we can clearly see it. And it went all the way towards the west where the mountain was at, and then it hovered. It went down really low, and it hovered. It hovered, man. It just stayed there. And that, I think that's when my phone just died out because maybe I didn't have too much time or data. But it hovered right there, and it all of a sudden it went up, and it just went over the mountain, took off to the west, to the left. Well, you know what? I went to Luke Airport Base with it. The next day, I went over there. I told him, hey, I think you guys have a problem. And the guys were kind of laughing at me, the soldiers. That's probably a drone and all that. I go, you know what, man? This is an Air Force Base. You should take every goddamn threat seriously, not make a joke of it. I go, okay, well, let's go see what you got. He takes me into his room, and there's probably about 30 people in there. So he could see it better because it was too bright outside. And he let it go, not even halfway. So he was looking at it. He was like, yeah, well. I go, keep looking at it. Keep looking at it. And listen to what I'm saying. And he's looking at it. And when he sees it move, he says, okay, well, hold on. Let me call the investigator. So right away, he calls this investigator. And he says, I think you need to come out here. There's something you need to see. And they asked him what it was. He goes, well, unidentified object. And I go, you know what this thing was doing, it was looking at the Air Force base. It was checking you guys out. I go, if you don't want to take that serious, I think it's serious. If you don't know what it is, well, then you guys better investigate and find out what it was. And then the guy comes, investigator, about 15 minutes later, he comes, in the truck. And he's looking at it, and he's like, can you send me a video? Send me an email. So I did. I sent him the email and everything, and then he gives me his card. And he never got back with me or anything like that about it. But you know what? You know what's crazy? For 2 weeks, these jets weren't flying. For 2 weeks. They take off from here every day. They don't stop until about 11, 12 o'clock at night coming back in from wherever they were at. Man, they didn't even go nowhere. They were grounded for about 2 weeks. You know what's weird is when they started flying, they wouldn't even leave the area. They would fly around the Air Force base. They deploy. They take off the runway, these sharp turns, and they fly around the Air Force base, and they would land it again. And they were doing that for about a week, and then they don't take off from the north side anymore.
What happened? Where did it go? Why was it over Luke Air Force Base? In between 2001 and 2015, there was a study conducted by Linda and Cheryl Costa. They took the number of UFO sightings over this period and broke it down to the county level. Number 1 is not surprising, but number 2 beat out 36 states. Depending on the conditions, photographing planets can be extremely tough. The one thing you can always count on is having to go against the speed in which the Earth rotates. We obviously cannot feel this standing on the surface, but in long-range photography, the 1,037 miles per hour in which the Earth rotates requires patience and perfect timing. In 2015, a new passion grew on me. Similar to photographing planets, it required timing of fast-moving objects that were sometimes airborne, that radiated colors from both ends of the spectrum. Finally making it home, I get in, I unpack my gear, grab a snack, and started processing images. Upon finding the pictures that were requested, I see something that shouldn't be there. Remember thinking it was lint, so I double-checked the image. That's not lint. A black triangular craft with what appears to be an afterburner or headlights on the top in these photos. No conventional exhaust trail. Its surface is black with a V-shaped body, 3 access points, and it appears to be hovering. Being that Deer Valley Airport is right there, that cannot be a drone. I'm definitely on to something. I decided to send the images to a good friend known as the Alien Hunter. His name is Daryl Sims, hand-selected by the CIA while he was in the military. He eventually resigned to become the Alien Hunter. Now, before you go off the deep end with this information, think about it for a second. He was hand-selected by the Central Intelligence Agency. Everything you need to know about unidentified flying objects extraterrestrials, unexplained aerial phenomena, that's probably the one place you want to go for that information. He resigned and started hunting aliens. Upon emailing Mr. Sims the photos of the V-shaped craft and the black helicopter, I also gave him a timeline of how it happened and what took place. This evening, I captured 3 images of a black triangle object, followed by an all-black military helicopter, moments after going in the same direction, heading south. Altogether, I have about 13 images. 3 of them are of the triangle craft, and the rest are of the black helicopter. Here's attachments of close-ups of the black triangle. After hearing back from Daryl, I did what most people would do in a situation like this. I posted the pictures to social media. This action was a blessing and a curse. Listen, when you witness something and obtain photographic or video evidence, be careful of the social media platforms you post it to. Trust me, you never know who's watching. I posted these images to Facebook and Instagram, just to show family and friends. Daryl immediately passed the information to his investigator, Seffi. I'm introduced to Seffi.
Hi there, I'm Seffi, and I would be happy to take a look at the photos you sent Daryl. I need to see the original photo files. You definitely have got something interesting there. Please send the original photos to this email address. Make sure you send the files as attachments to keep the quality at its best for analysts. If possible, send other photos taken at the same time, even the ones without the UFO. It would really help. Thanks, all the best, Seffi.
In the 3 photos of the unidentified flying object, it's stationary the entire time. Even though the photos may look like it's moving, it's my camera that's following the rider in sports mode. The second and third photo show a perfect solid white object attached and divides in the third image. Within 10 minutes, there was a black helicopter spotted from the north heading south. There's an airport just south of the location named Deer Valley Airport, here in North Phoenix. Someone there could have seen it as well. Let me know if the images came in clear. If not, I'll send them from my computer.
Hiya, thanks for the swift reply. Unfortunately, I didn't get the third picture of the UFO. I only got 2. This email I'm replying to you on is the one that was missing the attachment. Maybe you can try and resend it to me. I live in the UK, so the time difference may make my reply seem slow to you. I'm working on this today. All the best, Steffi. Hello again. I have some questions to you if you don't mind. I always try to put myself in the photographer's shoes. I'm not a professional photographer, but I have been having fun with my DSLR for the past couple of years. Did you see the UFO before taking the photo? If so, what made it catch your eye? Did you watch it hover? Did you see it leave? Did it move away, vanish when the helicopter arrived? How long was the UFO in the area? Thank you for your help. It's very much appreciated. All the best, Steffi.
No, I didn't see it before taking the photos. As the pictures were being taken, I did see something but dismissed it, as I thought it may have been lint on my camera or something flew off the rider. I checked my lens and there was nothing there, so I dismissed it and moved on. Then I saw the black helicopter with the naked eye and began to photograph it. That's when I thought to myself, did I really capture something? It wasn't until I got home and went through the images. I was about to post on Instagram, and that's when I noticed the object in the photo. That's when I put it all together.
These are great, thanks. This is going to be a big report. I'm enjoying this one very much, especially since your pictures are so nice. I have the same camera as well, so I can really feel these pictures. Thanks again, Safi.
The images were taken at a location called Black Mountain BMX. Deer Valley Airport is less than a mile away. The object was right near the airport. Drones that close to the airport are not allowed via FAA regulations, so we can eliminate the drone theory. Phoenix is well known for strange aerial sightings. It's also a hotbed for triangular-shaped craft. These types of craft are always seen over airports and military bases. In these images, the camera focused more on the unidentified flying object than the actual rider. But what about that helicopter? Why was it there? Let's take a look at some conventional aircraft we see on a daily basis. I notice a military helicopter coming directly towards the track. Flies over the track, then makes a right turn heading south, circles Black Mountain, heads west, and lands at Deer Valley Airport. Here it comes again for a second time, flying right over the track, repeating the process, going around the mountain, heading west towards the airport, and landing. Again, it repeats this process for a third time, for a fourth time. This is when I message Mr. Sims. A fifth time, a sixth time. Something's not right. This is when I take video.
Here it comes, seventh time. We're at Black Mountain BMX here in Phoenix. Full event. This is my first time back since the actual event. And right over this hill, pretty much in the same direction where the unidentified flying object was spotted. Here it comes again. Seventh time this Black Hawk. No markings. So crazy.
Why would the military circle that area 13 times, 4 days after an unidentified flying object was spotted in the exact same location? There were plenty of witnesses that saw this take place. This really feels like an intimidation tactic. Listen, you need to understand why these helicopters are so important. I have to take you back to an event that took place on August 13th, 2008. On a morning commute headed to work, the radio station is tuned in to 104.7 KISS FM.
Hi, we're John J. and Rich.
They're doing a segment called What is Something That You Witnessed and Nobody Believes That You Saw It. This is what eventually turned into Confession Wednesdays. This radio show is the only one throughout the John J. and Rich history that has been removed from the catalog. There's only one location on the internet you can even find this story, and it's on a website called godlikeproductions.com. On this specific show, a woman by the name of Nikki begins to share her story. She said she was in a traffic jam on the 10 near Casa Grande. She says she saw a black helicopter just appear out of nowhere to the south. Then it swooped down to the other side of the highway, and then a military truck pulls up. Men jumped out of the truck. She notices that they are carrying something big in size. They put it on the helicopter. The helicopter picks up a few of the guys and flies away. She's one of many that saw this take place while they were stuck on the highway. It doesn't seem like much until John Jay brings in another caller who says his name is Colonel McBride. He's stationed at a base that doesn't come up on your typical Google search results. So for that sake, we won't mention that base name. Colonel McBride says that he was in the middle of a root canal when he started hearing chatters of a radio station talking about black helicopters in the desert. John Jay and Rich seem normal at first. Then John Jay begins to ask questions. He questions the colonel's position, who he really is, where he's really located. At first, Colonel McBride is polite, keeps his calm. All he asks is that, let's not talk about these black helicopters on the radio. He said you can call them whatever you want to. Just don't call them black helicopters. Call them purple, green, but don't call them black. John Jay continues to press the issue with Colonel McBride. A couple minutes go by and you can tell everything is not as scheduled because Rich isn't so talkative. He actually sounds nervous. As John Jay continues, Colonel McBride becomes a little agitated, and keep in mind he stated that he was in the middle of a root canal. John Jay continues to question his authority. Then Colonel McBride tells them to look outside, and you should see a black truck. Somebody in the studio gets that confirmation. There is a black truck with government tags outside. Then you hear a knock at the studio door while John Jay is continuing on. And now the colonel is irate. He begins to threaten to shut the radio station down if they continue to talk about black helicopters. And then all of a sudden, a commercial break. The normal programming was taken off air for about an hour and a half. When they came back on air, they never talked about what happened with Nikki, what she saw on the side of the road, or Colonel McBride. And most importantly, till this day, they don't talk about that show or black helicopters. Call the show, 602-260-1047. Ask them for the show that was aired on August 13, 2008. You will not get a response back. Whoever started the thread to Godlike Productions, tag the original link to that show, and it's still in the thread. It sends you directly to the John Jay and Rich show. Ever since that day, when those helicopters are in the sky, not only do I observe, but I begin to record. The one thing that I've learned is this. Almost every time there's a UFO in the area, these helicopters soon follow. And then it hit me. On August 8th, 2015, as I was looking at this image of the rider, there's a black dot in the cloud. I actually photographed the helicopter almost nearly the same time as the UFO. See, this rider is coming through this turn, and at Black Mountain BMX, where this rider is at, he hadn't gotten to the position for me to take the pictures that the UFO is actually in. So I missed my opportunity to capture more images of the unidentified flying object. I couldn't see it. The images of this helicopter were actually taken before the pictures of the black triangle and the rider. It was there. But more importantly, why would they show up 4 days later on August 12th? The very next operational night when it comes to Black Mountain BMX. Why circle the track 13 times? What would that helicopter want over that area? It really felt like an intimidation tactic. But then I got Seffi's last email.
Hi Daryl, hi Clive. It's interesting that the Black Hawk was circling over the BMX track again. Did it head off in the south-southwest direction when it left? If so, it would probably be heading for Luke Air Force Base. You got a couple of lens flares off the Hawk's brightest light at the front in the 2 photos you sent me. What could a Hawk want over the track? If the police were searching for something, they would use the police chopper, not the attack chopper. There are a lot of open spaces around the track. I was checking the area on Google Earth. It's interesting that the mountains in the area are called Black Mountains. Do you have any other place names in the areas with the words like Devil's Creek, Devil's Perch, and more negative places named designed to remind people not to go there? I always found that really interesting. They are all over the world. I wonder if every place with a title like that has UFO sightings. I was just looking at the roads around the BMX track. There's one called Quartz Rock Road, Black Hill Road is another, Thunderbird Road, Superstitious Mountains, Fort Apache Reservation is west of the BMX track. I bet they know more about the Space Brothers than we do. Granite is found in the area. There are quartz crystals running through granite. That's what makes the sparkle in the sun. Granite was commonly used for the construction of megaliths around the world. Tests are run to compress granite under the tremendous weight. This compression creates a piezoelectrical charge. Very interesting. To think there is granite running under loads of homes in the world. I wonder if a large concentration could cause Brown Mountain lights, Marfa lights, Hesdalen lights, Norway. Seeing as Phoenix is southwest of the BMX track, and we know the area has a famous UFO sighting, also reported to be a delta or boomerang-shaped craft. With all that in mind, I would be ready with my cameras whenever I went out around here, just in case. Your previous photo of the delta-shaped craft was very interesting. You've definitely got something there. UFOs found on the photos after they were taken are seldom unusual and can be explained. If someone has just taken pretty pictures of the sunset, for example, they will see lens flares on the photos afterwards. They couldn't see them when they took it, so it seems strange. Your delta-shaped craft is not lint or lens flare. It's an aircraft of some sort, alien or human, I don't know. Did you happen to check to see if the air shows around you at the time were showing any of the flying wings? I wonder what the UC-60 was up to. All the best, Seffi.
They weren't trying to intimidate us. They were searching for something. Let's head back out there. I wonder what they were looking for.
Hey Dustin, is your earpiece working?
Yeah.
Yo man, we gotta be sharp. This can definitely get us into trouble. I'm gonna find what they was looking for.
This is my boy.
Hello?
Hey, I just wanted to call you and let you know real quick. I'm about to go film this area of interest, and I'm gonna send you the address just so you know where I'm at, okay?
Okay. Do I need to be worried?
I definitely could get in trouble, but it's best to do it at nighttime, so.
Be careful.
Cash with you?
Yeah. Me and Cash going for a ride. That's my boy, huh, Cash? That's a good boy. He's everywhere. Riding.
Keep him with you at all times.
Right. Yo, gotta get out of here, yo. What is that? What is that? You hear that? Nah, B, it's time to get the hell out of here, y'all. To fully grasp what we found in the desert that night, we need to understand why this area is so important.
When I was in USO way back during the Vietnam War, but I was in Arizona, Phoenix, worked with Luke Air Force Base and Williams when it was still an Air Force Base. In fact, Litchfield was a Naval Air Station in those days instead of what it is today. But anyway, a guy that I dated for a long time from Luke Air Force Base was sent on temporary duty several times for their Blue Book program back in those days. He wasn't allowed to talk about it at all. He probably wasn't even supposed to tell me that's where he was, because he was, temporary duty, and usually they weren't supposed to tell you. But I know his name. I don't know if you can get a hold of him or not. I think he's still in Arizona, if he's still alive. He's a couple of years older than I am. His name was...
We have someone who worked within the realm of Project Blue Book. Before we complete this interview, it's important to know how Arizona became a major part of Project Blue Book. In order to do this, we need to go back to 1940, when the population in Phoenix was around 65,000 people. Hello, my name is Clive Christopher, creator of Extraterrestrial Man-Made. First off, I want to thank you, the viewer, for watching the film. I hope by now you know the best times to spot unidentified flying objects and unexplained aerial phenomena. With unidentified flying objects and unexplained aerial phenomena being put into law, my goal with this series was to give you fresh UFO content in a state that houses the most reported UFO sighting in history, the Phoenix Lights. What we're going to do with the next installment is we're going to dive into the past a little bit. Phoenix, Arizona wasn't supposed to be the city that we know in present day. In closing, thank you for watching, and start to ask the question, is it extraterrestrial or is it man-made?
I'm serious. If it wasn't for my stepson and my stepdaughter having seen the same thing I saw, I would have thought I was crazy, man.
People are reporting seeing lights in the sky.
remember, driving down I-17 and seeing this odd configuration of lights.
And I want to say it was probably about 6 lights, like I said, in a V formation.
And then we look north, and here we see these lights coming directly toward us.
And the military, the Air Force Base had said something about it, but it was just some, BS, whatever.
Well, and I mentioned that I grew up on air bases. My dad was Air Force, and I grew up, so I'm familiar with the sounds of planes, looking at planes. I mean, I was on the base.
And then all of a sudden, off in the distance, like the far distance, we could see like a bluish color. I want to say maybe like not even like navy blue, like a lighter blue color. Like the sky just turned, like it went almost like an explosion. Blue color just flashed on and then just like off it went. And we're like, whoa! I'm like, wow! And my brother's like, did you just see that? I'm like, yeah.
We saw coming out of the Estrella Mountains these red lights that appeared to be just one aircraft.
It had lights on the front of it, and it was more shaped like a boomerang.
But as we got closer, we realized it was not just one aircraft. It was multiple aircrafts flying in a V formation.
So I would drive through the main drag from Flagstaff all the way through around to where she lived, and I had to pass by the mountains. And it was over on that ridge that I saw those lights. Everybody saw them clearly from the street. No one could have missed them.
Like not spotlights, but like light bulbs. That's light bulbs suspended in the middle of the air. They were in a formation. They were in kind of like an arc, kind of a little arc. It wasn't necessarily a straight line.
Dude, they're real, man. If you stare at the sky long enough, I tell people you just gotta stare at the sky long enough, and you will see these things.
And as it's coming over the mountain, I can see it. I can see the tip of it. It was a V shape, and I could see the tip coming over the mountain. So I stood outside of the truck, and I watched for a minute, and slowly it just went over. And there really wasn't any noise like a jet noise. It was more just like a rushing air. It was very quiet, but it was huge. And I was like, holy moly, what is that? And so my husband looked up and he was like, oh my goodness, what is that? So we stood outside and watched for a few minutes, and it just kind of completely went over us.
Especially if you're kind of like playing around with lights and trying to have like communications, like I told you, like I was trying to do. And it's not dumb. Whatever it is intelligent. I merely thought, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just play around with this light and see what happens. And Lord and behold, man, it's just boom. We get the light shining upon us, and we're like, and it was just like, it felt like everything, just like I said, just felt like slow motion. But whatever it is was intense. It was luminous, bright blue, and it got us, man. And we're like, whoa, what in the world was this?
So it didn't really occur to me that it was a UFO. It was more of a curiosity, like, what the heck is that anyway? And I kind of drove alongside it, and I could look at it. It didn't disappear. It hung right by me. I looked up and to my right, and I noticed a blue light.
There's no, hey, it might have been this, hey, it might have been that, nothing. It's almost like they're almost trying to make it that it didn't even happen. There's been no explanation as to what it is, but thousands of people saw fucking giant aircraft fly over Phoenix metropolitan area.
And I saw them. You couldn't miss them. All you had to do was look up. Or what? Nobody really knew what it was. It was just V-shaped lights, and to me.
And the first thing I saw, before the whole big Phoenix lights over South Mountain, the first thing I saw was the same week. And I remember being just on that freeway, just east of what will be Sky Harbor. And I remember seeing something, a flashing light. I couldn't tell the shape of whatever it was. It wasn't a huge thing. But I saw what I thought was a helicopter flying. And then I noticed behind it there were two other planes kind of offset from each other flying behind it. because of the height and it being night, I don't know how far they're behind it. But they're just tailing it, and you can see it kind of weaving and going through the sky, and they're following it. And all of a sudden, the thing that calls the helicopter just is zipped off, and those jets, what ended up, what I could tell by them, were jets. They took off after it, and about 2 seconds later, they hightailed it back, did a U-turn, and off they went.
So if you can just imagine the 51 freeway going north up to